the cloud. And whenever you guys are ready, please begin.
All right, well,
Awesome.
Peter, first, I hope you feel better soon. I know the pain of migraine. So,
Thank you.
all right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Erica McCray, and am thrilled to be sharing some of our experiences and insights with you, as my colleague Jenna.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Jenna Gonzalez, and I serve as the director of the Disability Resource Center here on campus. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic and dive into good future ideas for our disciplines.
So Jenna and I started delivering this workshop partly out of our own experience as special education teachers in K-12 settings. I'm faculty in the special education program here, and we met many years ago now, Jenna, and became good colleagues in thinking about how do we bring some of our experiences as K-12 educators into the higher education space, which we do in the courses that we teach in our program for pre-service teachers and those in the education sciences program. But how can we share this with colleagues who may not have the same professional background, academic training, but want to make sure that their courses are accessible to their students? So that's how we came to be delivering this content, and hopefully you find it useful. And at the end, we'll have our contact information. So if you have questions or lingering wonderings after this, you're able to reach out to us if you'd like.
All right, let me get everything moving here for us, Erica. All right. All right, so we're gonna do just a quick check-in and just kind of get to know each other as best we can on this online workshop. So if you feel comfortable, please feel free to unmute and introduce yourself and tell us your discipline and then maybe one instructional challenge that you have encountered, or maybe thinking from the student standpoint, a learning challenge that you think your students encounter. Also, if you are not comfortable unmuting, you can absolutely put it in the chat, and we can read and see where everybody's from and get a feel of everybody who's here. Let's see here.
I'm Tim. I'm in forestry, and I'm increasingly encountering students who are um, not comfortable engaging in group work.
Mm,
Thanks,
okay.
Tim.
Let's see.
Doug, I see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Test one, two, three. That
Yes.
better? Okay. So hi, Doug. I'm Doug. Hi, I'm Doug, and I'm over at the Wharton College of Business. I teach professional speaking in business settings. So I'm just trying to learn, maybe open myself to more strategies of how I can teach students when all their assessments are presentations.
Mm.
Mhm.
Is it a required course, Doug?
You either take professional speaking or you take professional writing. So the
That's an
students have
interesting.
I would
Yeah.
Okay.
say I would say 70% take the writing part, maybe 30 take the speaking part.
Mhm.
Mm,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah.
My name is Adam. I'm actually a postdoc in the astronomy department. And I know I haven't taught in a while, but one challenge is that I've dealt with is definitely group work, but then also like in my field, dealing with AI and the complications with using that in coursework.
Mhm.
That could be another series altogether, Adam.
Mhm.
The topic buzzword. Hmm.
Holly added in the chat, Holly Freeman, instructional designer, College of Pharmacy. I don't directly teach students, but I support PharmD faculty who do. Thank you, Holly.
Hmm.
And Tyler in forestry, got a cold. I echo Tim's sentiment, but also experienced students viewing online courses as BS courses at a baseline. So overcoming that sentiment early is key.
Hmm.
I'm Jordan. I'm a postdoc in the entomology department. And one challenge that I think, I guess, I don't know if it's unique for our department, but it's unique in at UF, I felt like from my previous institution, is combining like student involvement from those that are in the classroom to those that are at REC centers as well, like bridging the group work or the different activities in the courses with both sets of students.
Mm.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah.
All right. Any others
Um,
before we keep moving?
all right. All right. So our plan for today, I'm gonna give an overview of our kind of disabled student population and kind of talk through that, kind of what we have here at the Disability Resource Center, just to kind of get a lay of the land there. We'll dive right into UDL principles and just kind of the basics of universal design for learning, go through those principles, and then we're going to kind of end with like reimagining all of our learning opportunities, and kind of future, right? And thinking, what can we do with this knowledge and how can we take it, and kind of run with it, right? So here we go. All right, so when we think about our students here registered in the Disability Resource Center, yep, the graph is pretty clear of our growth, right, and our continued growth. And I do think that it is something that is consistently discussed, right? I think there's a lot of folks that are encountering, I'm getting more accommodation letters than I ever have before, and things of that nature. And that is true, and it's happening. We're seeing the growth, and we feel the growth here at the DRC, as well. I think when people ask me, why do we keep seeing this, consistent growth with number of students with disabilities? I think there's multiple factors in that. I think that there's a lot of systems actually put in place now in the K-12 system that is successful, and students are being given the supports that they need to be successful in K-12. So they are coming into post-secondary very much knowing what they need to be successful in an academic space. So I think that does help them. And then we also have a percentage of students who were obviously, pretty amazing in high school. They got into UF, they're here now, and then all of a sudden something happens and they are floundering and they can't figure out why, because they were perfect in high school, everything was great. Well, their coping mechanisms don't always transfer when it comes to post-secondary, right? So I think there's students that are coming in really knowing what they need for accommodations, and then there's students that are reaching out to us and working with us and needing that diagnosis, and we do work with them step by step. So we definitely have a continual growth. When I actually pulled numbers this morning, we were at just a few over 8,000. So I think we have officially hit over the 8,000 mark of students registered. Our student population is registered with disabilities are all encompassing of every type of diagnoses possible and everything in between. Our number one category is mental health. That is our strongest category of where anxiety, depression, PTSD, bipolar, schizophrenia, um, uh, lots of diagnoses within mental health. And then all the way behind that is ADHD and learning disabilities in both reading, math, and then also writing, and then also combined, right? So you can have multiple learning disabilities. I think people don't always think about the temporary students who come to register in the Disability Resource Center that might have a concussion. Last week we had 7 students have accidents at the rec sports, and whether that was beach volleyball or falling or basketball, and those concussions are extremely serious, and we take them very serious here, and we work with the students to make sure that they are following as close as possible with their doctor's orders, and we assist as much as we can with those temporary injuries. Um, and their accommodations will expire, and so they will be here consistently with us until then. Let's see
Before
here.
you go to the next one, I'm curious, are any of you surprised by the numbers or the categories that Jenna has shared?
A little bit. I guess I would have thought that the cognitive ones were higher than the mental health ones, but
Mhm.
I would have put them 1 and 2 in the opposite order, I guess.
I wrote down the 8,000 numbers in my notes because it was notable.
And Jenna, I don't know if you all collect data that's that looks at students who are identified for multiple, or is this just primary diagnosis?
Yeah, so actually it is this is primary overall, and then but with that point, Erica, there is truly not really one person besides a temporary that has one diagnosis, right? So they are coming in and it is multiple layered, and mental health is the pair to a lot of ADHD, a lot of learning disability that goes along with that, right? We have a lot of OCD and things of that nature that directly correlate, and the research is right there behind that of that. And so I think we talk about the higher caliber of our classes and the higher caliber of our students and the higher rigor, we're going to see a stronger rise with mental health for sure. It's
And Tyler
definitely.
commented noticing an uptick in 2020, 2021 in their own courses, but that wasn't much of a surprise. It's sobering though. And I think we might continue to see that trend.
Yes. And I think that also when we look at the percentages, like overall percentages, we are very much where when you read about national numbers of people with disabilities and national numbers of those. So I mean, I know it's a lot for us in like big numbers that we think about like, for our population, but it is very much the trend that it is nationally. And even with our SEC schools, we are very much on par, all of us together, of everybody seeing an increase, kind of the same percentages. And these are all students. So this is every student. This is a student who is non-degree seeking and taking a class with UF. This is UF online. This is, anything and all encompassing. The ADA law is very clear that any student who is taking any sort of course at UF, we have to serve if they have a disability. So the numbers are all encompassing.
And that's those that register. So the numbers
Yes.
are probably quite a bit higher than that. Yeah.
Yes. Those are absolutely just the students that are self-identifying and coming and saying, I need assistance and I need accommodations. Yeah, for sure. So with that comes the big question, right? How do we make our classrooms more accessible? This is absolutely a comic strip that is a big push in our disability and higher ed field. It is something in our national conference that we always start our conference off with to just kind of set our mind frames in the right way and just kind of remember why we do what we do. And it is very clear here, right? You have somebody who's shoveling snow on the stairs, and you have a person in the wheelchair, and the person in the wheelchair says, "Can't you shovel the ramp?" And the person shoveling clearly says, "Well, if you would just wait, I'm going to clear the stairs so this group can go up and into school, and then I will do the ramp so you can." And the wheelchair user is just saying, "But if you shovel the ramp, we can all get in," right? So it is a very simplistic way of just it's a very good reminder, but something of that, one size fits all, and, changing of a mindset, looking at things, kind of broadening our horizons and kind of thinking outside the box can really be like maybe an opportunity for all disabilities, all learners, all people, right? Like in the grand scheme of things there. I am going to get smoothed and smoothed over.
All right, so we will talk about, how does this apply to our courses? We'll talk about integrated course design, so that design-based thinking approach, and how universal design for learning came from universal design principles, which we'll talk about, and how we can integrate that thinking into our planning from developing the course description and lesson objectives all the way through assessments to ensure that students have access to that information. So if you look at this graphic, situational factors should inform and be informed by all of these other elements. So your learning goals, we'll talk about that in more detail. How do you provide feedback and assessment and develop teaching and learning activities so that the learning goals are met and that those situational factors are taken into account so that students are learning based on what it is you need for them to learn based on those goals. So on the next few slides, I'll talk a little bit more in detail about these. Okay, so when we think about learning goals, in the course catalog, we have a course description. You may or may not read that. Your students may or may not read that. But you have goals in mind for the course. If you think about the course in the context of a program or a set of experiences that students should have when they leave your course and program, they can be discipline specific. So what are the fields, your field's sort of gold standard expectations for students to graduate? And how does the discipline specific requirements into a particular course, then that moves to the course specific. So if a course is looked at as a part of a whole sequence of curriculum, how does that course meet the needs of the student so that they're building on what they learned in a prior course and they're prepared to move into the next course because they've gotten the content and skills that they need. And then for each lesson, each learning opportunity, how are you making sure that that allows them to be ready to meet all of the course specific objectives, all of the discipline specific objectives and learning goals that are laid out and that should fit within that course. So that's a constant question as I'm developing my courses. How does this particular activity move them forward? How does it prepare them for the next thing I need them to do? Because if there are major milestones in the course, I need to make sure that they're prepared to meet them. If I give them an assignment that's sort of a signature or key assessment for the course or the program, and I haven't given them the skills along the way, then I have done them a disservice and I'm giving them expectations that I have not adequately prepared them for. That may look different for each student. So universal design will help us think about that even more broadly. So the teaching and learning activities is sort of the front end. We've got the standards and objectives that we want them to meet, but then how are we getting them there? So we want to make sure that we're presenting materials in ways that allow them to access it, and we'll get into more detail on that. They have to be able to practice what they've learned or demonstrate what they've learned with feedback. As the instructor or your teaching assistant or whomever, the subject matter expert should give them very specific feedback that they can act on. So each learning activity, each assignment should have substantive importance in their ability to learn and show that they've mastered the content to move on to the next thing. And then scaffolding roles. So how do we move from being the primary sort of disseminator or structure of the structure, I don't think that's a word, person facilitating and structuring the learning, to students moving into the role of peer mentor or peer instructor, and then them being able to demonstrate that they know the content well enough that they could teach it to someone else. That's the ultimate goal, is that they become subject matter experts, even if it's in a finite way for that particular course or lesson, but that they have the opportunity to move from novice to expert in that content. So universal design principles, to go back to the graphic that Jenna talked about with the cleaning of the ramp as the most accessible way to allow entry into that building. Mace and others have talked about universal design principles in building and construction. So anytime you use a ramp cutout or a curb cutout, those are all the universal design principles. The goal of these principles in our everyday lives is to offer equitable use so that everyone has opportunities to access a space, or in our case that we're talking about today, a learning opportunity. That it should be flexible in its use. It should accommodate preferences as well as abilities. That whatever that design is, it should be simple and intuitive so that multiple users with multiple types of abilities are able to use it. It should be easily communicated and accessed so that it's perceptible to many different people. It should allow for an increased tolerance for error. So it should minimize barriers or remove barriers. So think about the curb cutout. I happen to have a temporary disability. I have a temporary injury that allows me to think a lot more critically about this. I tore my ACL, so I'm using crutches and a scooter. And there are a lot of things that I have to think about that I didn't have to think about before. And so when we think about being in the classroom, there are things as instructors, particularly if it's our area of expertise, that we don't have to think about. We don't have barriers because we have background knowledge, we have the capability to structure things in ways that make sense. But students come in and there are barriers there, and part of our role is removing those barriers. And then lastly, low physical effort. So it should be appropriate for a wide range. And if you think about that from a learning standpoint, How do we make sure that the effort is appropriate and scaffolded so that students with various knowledge and skill can get the support that they need to be able to access it? So now we'll talk about universal design in the learning context. So the American Psychological Association says that designing for universal access from the start prevents the need for more costly and often less pleasing adjustments, which are implemented later and are frequently only set up to be used for special circumstances. So if we start our lesson planning from those learning goals and we think about how do I ensure that a wide range of students can access this content and participate in the learning activities that I have set up? That might mean if I know they struggle with group presentations, that I provide more structure, and we'll talk about that. Or I provide other opportunities if that's not the learning goal. So Doug, I'm thinking about your class. Your class is about public speaking. So how do I structure that in a way that they do that, but they do it in a way that feels more accessible, or I scaffold it so that they, by the end, are prepared to do that? Then we also have to think about a decreased need for formal accommodation requests. And that's where Jenna's office comes in. And so she tries to work with her learning specialist to provide information to instructors as a proactive measure so that formal accommodation requests are less necessary because they've already been universally built into the way the courses are structured, which will lead ultimately to higher engagement because students feel like there's an entree point for them no matter what their learning preferences or needs are. So universal design for learning, and we can share the link to CAST. This is a resource from a technical assistance center called CAST. It used to be an acronym, but they don't use it anymore. But their point is that we should think about universal design for learning in terms of engagement. So are we providing multiple ways for students to engage? Are we providing multiple representations of content and ways for students to interact with that? And then action and expression. Are we providing options for them to demonstrate knowledge and skill? They also, on the left side in the gray boxes, they talk about the different ways this can show up. So executive function, how are we preparing students to think through and process and plan and scaffold the work by modeling that for them, thinking about ways to support them throughout the lesson. So is it that we need to make sure that they're getting large assignments in small increments so that they feel like they can sustain their effort? Or is it that they need the language of the discipline because it's complex or very discipline specific or nuanced? And then are we providing multiple ways for them to communicate, even if ultimately the final approach that needs to be used for the assessment might not be their preferred, but they're prepared for it and can do that? And then access. Are we ensuring that just because it's the typical way information is shared, like through a lecture or course reading, is that the only way? Are there other ways that we can provide access for students, whether it's a preference or perceptually, maybe they have a hearing impairment or a visual impairment? Are there other ways that they might need to access that information? And then the interactions. A couple of folks mentioned group projects, and we'll talk a little bit about that. All right, so a few specific examples that seem sort of accessible or opportunities that could be used across the board. Optimizing choice. Now, I say this with a caveat. I know this will look very different for a class of 20 or 30 versus a class of 100 or 200. But what are the ways that you can think about optimizing choice? Can students have options for content or topics? If they have a research paper, are they allowed to choose a topic within the realm of possibility for that particular course's content? Are they able to take particular perspectives? Are they given an opportunity to propose a topic, even if it's not something that would typically be used in the course from the instructor's perspective? And then what are those opportunities for practice? Are they, if it's an online course, are they having discussions on a discussion board? Are they given an opportunity to provide a video response to a prompt? Are they given feedback so that they know that they're getting closer to what mastery looks like for that particular course or assignment? And then co-creating a menu of final products. That may feel like the Wild West. That may feel like that is not something you are open to, but it's something to think about. Are there options that you can provide that you would feel comfortable with, so that students feel like they have some investment in meeting the benchmarks that you have set for the course? And how do we foster collaboration, connecting learning to the specific group of students in front of you? I think, this might age me, but I feel like when I started here back in 2007, the students showed up very differently than they do now. Their expectations seem different. The ways that they want to engage seem different. I would have students come into office hours. Now students all they want to do is message, even if it's in real time. And so how do we adjust and meet the students that are in front of us that we're here to serve where they are? And in the instance that we need to, bring them closer to what the rest of the adult world might expect of them when they go into a job or some other post-secondary setting. But I think it's some give and take. It's how do we meet them where they are so we can take them where we need them to go? And then set working norms. Are there expectations? And I won't keep talking about my own experience. I'll ask about your experience. But for some students, they want constant feedback. And I appreciate their desire for feedback, but sometimes their expectations are untenable. Like, I sent an email 15 minutes ago. Why haven't you responded? And it's like, I am so thrilled that you are enthusiastic about this content, but let's talk about a reasonable turnaround time. And so setting working norms, not only for the faculty member and the students, but among the students. And then when it comes to group activities, some students will absolutely, withdraw from a course if they think it's group activities involved, and others enjoy it. And my experience is providing structure and the ability for them to see their own and know that their own contributions will be recognized. If I'm giving a group assignment, there are roles. Each person gets an individual grade partially, and then they get a group grade partially, because that's what the world of adulting looks like. You're responsible, but you're also accountable to a group. And so thinking about what are the roles that each person might feel confident and comfortable in taking in the group, and making sure that everybody understands who's responsible for what, and that there's an agreement and there are working norms within that particular group. So I want to pause there. What are your thoughts on thinking about engagement more broadly, and ways that might work or that have worked for you in your own courses? And if there are nuances in your particular context that I didn't mention, like small class versus large class, online versus in person, let me know what you're thinking.
Going to cell phone based response systems like iClicker has been very helpful for me in allowing students to engage. You might not want to talk, but then it
Mm-hmm.
also is an avenue for verbal engagement. Does
Mm-hmm.
anyone that answered this question correctly want to tell me why you answered it correctly? That's been very helpful for me in my classes.
That's a great example, Tim, because that also lets them know I'm on the right track. So now I can take the risk of speaking in front of my peers, because I at least know I got the right answer. Tyler, I've used topic choices for students for an argumentative paper. I give them 4 or 5 while also allowing them to create one with prior approval if they wish. Students get to hopefully pick something they are more passionate about. That's awesome.
My comment is similar to Tyler's, where when they present their topic for their presentation, they get to choose how they present it. We just give them the structure of how they should present their topic, but they get to choose what they present on, as long as it's business related. That's the
Okay.
only caveat.
Doug, one question about that, or maybe more questions, but the first one that came to mind for me with your particular course content is the presentation. Like, are there options for presentations to be recorded? Are they expected at some point they need to do it live and off the cuff? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think the ultimate, I guess, skills we're trying to give them is to be confident presenting to a public audience.
Hmm.
What so we would prefer present in person, but if they cannot for whatever reason, a recording is acceptable as well. Or presenting to myself only because of some sort of um, something happened, so they couldn't present to the class, so they present in a one-off to myself.
Hmm.
Although I think we're going to adjust that. Instead of myself, they have to bring two friends to come and act as their audience. So they
Yeah,
still get that idea of presenting to the public.
that's awesome. All right. Anyone else? Any thoughts or ahas or examples? All right, Jenna, let's keep moving. Okay, so with representation, perception comes in. I mentioned before, we have students with specific sensory needs. So accessible materials, which is, Jenna, I hope you'll jump in on this one and where we are in the world right now with accessible materials, but also thinking about various formats and modalities. For students, depending again, those learning goals should drive the learning activities and the assessment and the way feedback is provided. But if there is flexibility, offering other formats. For some students, a written paper is the way to go. For others, they may prefer to do something auditory, they might want to present. Other students want to do something more creative. And so, if it is allowable and fits the learning goals, considering those other options, because I know for me, I am more likely to start from a place that is comfortable for me. I am more likely to say, let me write it and I'll turn it in. But allowing students who don't necessarily feel like that's their strong suit, letting them to do things in other formats as long as it works with the learning goals and how you can fit it into your course, depending on the size, is always an option. And then connecting it to prior knowledge. So, where are they coming from? How do you allow them to do things that fit with who they are and where they've come from? Whether that's the topic, like they want to do something that's relevant to the community that they've come from, or they've had experience on debate teams, so that's the way they want to approach it. So what are ways, one, that you get to know your students and get information so that you have a sense of prior knowledge that can be tapped into, and then what are those opportunities to apply what they've learned? How do you allow them to show the connections that they've made and the ways that they've mastered the content? Jenna, you want to talk about accessibility?
Yeah, accessible materials, and kind of thinking just in general of like how our world has evolved, right, with accessibility and assistive technology, and thinking about that, right, and the tools that are available and what students have options to are absolutely fantastic, and continue to grow. I think that during COVID, we learned a lot, right, about what is available, what's out there, what is can online learning look like in different capacities. So I think the representation of, just all of the pieces of accessible materials is growing. For example, here, I was thinking in the DRC of, we have what's available for live scribe pens. And so these pens are accessible to students to be able to check out. And they are able to take notes on a very specialized piece of paper. And it is recording their notes that they're writing on the paper into their OneNote account, and it is directly relaying to it. And so then they're able to manipulate the notes and use those things so they can actually attend everybody's lecture, have everything that they need. It's recording everything, and then they're able to use it in a typed system and be able to highlight and manipulate and move and be able to do that. So hopefully with that, right, then they're able to take the content that they learned and then be able to make the outcome that is asked of them in their classroom. So I do think we have so much more available to students now than ever before. And I think that there's a lot of outside the box thinking in ways. I was even thinking for my own class, Erica, that I teach with undergrad. And, it's about a class of 50 and trying to bring in these principles as much as I possibly can and trying to allow for a menu of options of outcomes is a very different way of thinking when I went from a class of 20 and now I've got a class of 50 and trying to stick to my goals, stick to my outcomes and make sure that I am staying true to that, but then also trying to develop some sort of options for them so that I'm hitting every learning style possible, right? That you said. So as you're talking, my mind is spinning about what I can do and what I need to be thinking about too.
Thank you. Martha says, as someone instructing in a professional program, some use of the options are not tenable in terms of actually preparing students for practice. Martha, I'm not sure if you're open to sharing what program.
Sure. I mean, I'm in vet med, but med ed in general. And I think Doug may experience this in terms of if he's teaching it all in their master's programs at the business school, like there are certain forms of communication that are a professional expectation. And so allowing variation is great for accessibility, but ultimately part of the outcomes isn't just the knowledge, it's the delivery of that knowledge in the professional format.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So think about, yes, I don't disagree and I completely understand, but the scaffolding, how do you get them to that point? Maybe it starts as what would be considered an alternative format for like an early step, introduction of the material. And then you're scaffolding them so that when it's time for them to demonstrate that professional mastery using the language of the profession, they have it. And they've also been able to connect it to their prior knowledge and experience so that they see an entry point. That's really the goal. It's not that we're going to have 50 different ways of demonstrating knowledge at the end, but that there are multiple entry points for students to not only make connections to their prior knowledge, but see themselves in that particular profession. I don't know if that is helpful.
Yes, it certainly is. I think this is just a lot of what we struggle with in terms of this concept in the professional programs in general. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, action and expression. So we talked a little bit about this with the other. They start to blur together because you should be thinking always about what's the ultimate goal and how do we get them there. But in terms of communication, opportunities to offer multiple modalities, again, scaffolding across the context of a course or a program so that by the end, they're where you want them to be, using the language of the discipline, using the practices and the skills of the discipline. That discipline-specific language comes up a lot for students that conceptually understand, but don't have the right words, or they feel like they can't use the words in ways that others will accept them. And so really just thinking, what's the core concept? How can we connect it to their prior knowledge so that over time, the discipline-specific language becomes their own as well? And then recognizing personal preferences. I mentioned earlier, I would rather write. I have colleagues who, if they didn't ever have to write, would not. And so really just thinking broadly about how do we allow students within reason, appropriate to the learning goals and expected outcomes, express learning and mastery in different ways. And then at what points in the program. In our teacher education programs, we're always thinking about, we're preparing our candidates to be classroom ready or school building ready. And we have to get them there in a very short amount of time. And so we want to prepare them so that they're ready to pass the certification exams, they're ready to go into classrooms on day one, but also recognize that they're going into those situational factors back to the beginning that we have to expose them to. So we need to prepare them for multiple types of classrooms. In our elementary program, they're being prepared for grades K through 6, very different expectations from one end to the other. And so this also allows us to model for them the things that they can be doing in their classrooms. All right, so going back to the beginning, we talked about that design-based thinking. I mentioned throughout how we're constantly thinking about where we're trying to take them, What are the ways that we can get them there? How do we consider the students in our classroom so that we have a sense of the different entry points that they might need, and so that we can still get them to the end successfully. So the planning comes with that. What are the discipline specific, course specific standards? What are the core texts for our particular profession or discipline? How do we teach them? What are those teaching and learning activities? Are they appropriate for the students that we have? Have we considered those universal design principles? Are we providing feedback so that when it comes to the assessment, we're able to see, if it's using clickers, that's giving us real-time feedback. If it's prepping for a major exam, what are the learning objectives and ways that we're checking for learning in the interim? Are we analyzing our students' work? Are we ensuring that what we believe we've taught is actually being demonstrated by our students? And then how do we adapt? If we see that most of the students are getting it, but there are a few that are, giving very specific, they have very specific error types that we're able to assess and help them pick up what they aren't getting. And then that constant reflection on our own teaching. I'm always thinking, what do we want the student to know or be able to do by the time they leave us? How do we get them there? How do we know they've gotten there? What are the measures of mastery? And then what do we need to do to ensure that they can meet the set goal? So taking ownership and responsibility always, starting with those goals, and then thinking about those entry points for the students that we have. And universal design thinking is one way for us to have that sort of checks and balance in place. And that one's on the next slide, Jenna.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, what do we know about the learners in our context, the context they're coming from? What are our goals? What are the barriers that we can remove? How can we insert universal supports from the very beginning? Using those UDL guidelines to design the learning opportunities for our students, that they're informing the way we teach, evaluate, revise, or adapt our instruction. And that is a cyclical process that we should take with us throughout a course and a program. And I'm always thinking about not just what do I want them to get from my course, but how does this fit into the bigger picture of the program that they're in? Because if we think about our course in isolation, we can leave gaps that the next instructor has to try to fill, or we spend time on things that they've already sort of gotten a good foundation on in a course, either co-occurring or as a prerequisite. All right, so we'd like for you to think about a few things. Starting with an activity or course assignment, we talked a little bit about some generally in the beginning. Thinking through those UDL principles or the backwards design components where we're thinking about, the learning objectives, the learning and teaching activities, the feedback and assessment loop, reteaching if we need to. How can those influence the ways that you're allowing your students to reach those desired outcomes? And then what are the instructional opportunities that you might have? If you could take one thing from what we've shared today, what might that be?
While everybody's thinking and sinking it in, Erica, I really, when you were starting off earlier, you brought up, about our current students being very different, right, than, previously in the few years ago. And it really made me think about something that I have had to really be comfortable with in an uncomfortable way, right? Of, like I said, I went from a class of 20 to a class of 50. And I really had to think about my teaching, the way in which I was teaching, because I knew in my head that there was no other way I can get this content to them except by lecturing, right? But I also knew that I was getting people that were fidgeting and moving and getting up all the time. And it was really distracting for me. And I was trying, and I've got 50 minutes. So I'm like, come on, like, let's go. And I want to keep talking and I want to get through my slides. I'm trying to figure out a way to be engaging. So I've been trying to do the backwards kind of thinking and design and the way in which I can deliver the content. So I finally went to the way of how I can offer them to be active students in the class during the lecture. And I started trying it at the end of fall, and I'm moving into it now, and I feel a little bit more comfortable. But what I've done is I have designed an area in the classroom in the back for any folks that need to stand or, that don't want to be distracting to students. And so I've set up these like stations in the classroom to just try and help the different learning styles, right? Because I know I have to stand up there and I can be as engaging and try and get group work going. But with 50, then you've got shuffling around and moving and you've got 50 minutes, right? So I tried to just set up a and examples for them of ways in which to be as actively engaged as they possibly can for the 50 minutes, knowing that they're being fidgets and they want to constantly move. So I have the back station for people that need to stand or maybe rock back and forth, and sitting is not going to help them concentrate. And then I brought in some fidgets to show them that, this can be helpful for them as they're listening. They can be moving and, using different types of fidgets. And, this is what you can purchase them for yourself, but here's some examples and things. I brought in seat things that they can like move around in the seats and do that. So I have tried different things to try and keep them actively engaged while I'm lecturing, to do the best I can, because yes, they got to sit there and yes, they got to listen and do those things. And I was just finding a barrier there of that. I know it's difficult for them to sit for that long period of time. And I have seen a change as I have been lecturing all of these years, a change in the students that are capable of sitting for longer periods of time and not. So I'm trying it out, but I think that even the talk today and just kind of like sinking in that there's more things that I can do to kind of think through, but just wanted to throw it out there while people were kind of pondering and thinking of an activity or assignment.
Thanks, Jenna. Any other takeaways?
I'll jump in real quick. I do like the feedback loop thing. I teach very large classes. I teach general chemistries, so I get classes of about 300 and some change. And I'll get a couple of sections of those. What I think I may apply this feedback loop thing to is that I teach a flipped classroom, and my lectures are pre-recorded, right? But what I have noticed here in looking at like how many views my lectures have. So I have some lectures that have 20,000 views, while I have other lectures that have maybe 9 or 10,000 views. In thinking about how that could apply to this feedback loop, my guess is that the ones that have been watched the most are the most difficult topics. And so I think that I will take that. I'll look at those, see which ones have the most views, and then create shorter, more bite-sized videos to go to supplement that. And hopefully maybe that'll cut down on the number of times they have to rewatch the whole video. And yeah, so we'll see. I don't know if that'll work, but
Stephen, you might go viral. You'll have reels of all
Yeah.
your most watched videos.
I hope so. Well, whatever helps them, So I hope, So maybe that, yeah. So maybe I'll check back in with you all and let you know how it goes. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah, please do. We have a lot of folks that come over here and take chemistry exams at night, Steven. So we
Oh,
know all about those exams and that very
yeah,
hard content.
yeah. Y'all are probably in the DRC. Y'all probably hate me because I get
No,
my exams in late, and I got so many students. Oh my goodness. So
no, you're one of those that we're calling and saying that
yes,
I will drive the
yes.
golf cart to your office to pick up your exam.
Please tell her forgive me. I'm doing my best. I promise.
Well, we just appreciate you all, and we love that we have a testing center to be able to support, so that it is not on you all as faculty to have to
Yeah.
do that.
I
So
one of my colleagues here in the department, well, he's moved to engineering now, but he did an internship in the DRC, and I used to go down there with him to kind of see what was going on. But you guys are doing an amazing job down there. I don't know how you guys, because I'll have hundreds of exams myself
yeah,
per semester
yeah.
for just my class. So I can just imagine what you guys are doing for everybody across the campus. So yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Stephen. Yeah,
Hmm.
the numbers. I always like to tell the vice president, the night of physics, chemistry, and orgo, you come and see what a night is with the students wrapped around the building, waiting in line to get a seat to take their exam in our office, because those are the nights when you need to see what we do.
Exactly. And to let them know that you guys probably need some more help because I can only
Yeah.
imagine yeah. Whew.
More help and more space, that's for sure. But I love
Yeah.
that idea of breaking up the videos. I
Yeah.
do. I think that's a great example for the online piece too, right? For anyone who's just teaching online classes too. Like
Mhm.
there is something to be said about short videos and watching and yeah.
Yeah, the Teaching and Learning Center in the College of Business always tries to tell us to keep our videos short, short, short for, it's better to do more shorter videos than it is to do like the longer ones. Um, I thank you all very much for the presentation. It's a lot to take in. I am in kind of the same boat as Doug, and I don't remember who was Martha, I think, talking about
Hmm.
professional programs. I teach in the College of Business. I teach writing and speaking mostly at the graduate level, and so it's tough to think of, but like they have to have the skill at the end of the class. It's,
Hmm.
there's no way around that. They have to be able to demonstrate that they have these skills. But one thing I've been doing with a lot of, especially my MBA students, but filtering down to my other classes too, is explaining to them why the assignments are designed the way they are and exactly what I'm trying to assess and what we're trying to, so it's like when I have this requirement, like I'm not just saying that because I hate you. Like it's, like this is the thing, and this is the thing you have to demonstrate it to me. And if you can demonstrate it to me in a way that's, not something I've thought of, let's talk about that. So,
Hmm.
my MBA students in particular, I think appreciate that because they come from so many different backgrounds and the professional norms and all of their industries are very different. So I'm like, okay, well, what would this look like in your industry? What would goodwill look like? What would, writing this type of message look like in your industry? And then we can have a conversation about it. And I can be like, okay, well, good. You do know how to do this thing. You're just doing it in a different way than
Hmm.
what we're used to.
Thanks for that, Jessica. That also makes me think about the earlier comment about the use of AI and how do we help students use it responsibly, um, and use it as a tool, not as a way to get out of meeting the lesson goals and objectives that are set for them. So I've had colleagues say, you know, I really do need them to read this content. And it's like, okay, but do they need to read it from the book? Can they listen to an audio? Is there a podcast that has the same content? Like, what are the ways that we can provide access? And then on the other side of it, maybe they do need to do a presentation, but can they write it first and get feedback on the writing and then practice parts of it in front of a small group that they choose? Like, there are ways to get to the same end, but with different access points.
Yeah, and we do typically scaffold in both the writing and the speaking classes, going through multiple drafts and sort of building up to things. But again, they do still have to demonstrate the mastery at the end, so it is tough to try to think of a way to accommodate beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Erica, we did a grant with the libraries and we have book eye scanners around UF now and the various libraries, and we have one here at the DRC. So you saying that makes me think that we have something open, a very wonderful technology tool that allows students to scan books, and it scans from the top down. So we don't have to unbind books anymore to actually scan them. And so you stand and it's accessible in the sense that it's a foot pedal scanner. So you are hitting it, and or you can bring it up to the top and use it with your hand, and you just flip and it's scanning it from the top and it scans it into an as an MP3. And so we
Mm,
train students all the time, and it's open for anybody. Like it doesn't have to be um it doesn't have to be that you have an accommodation or anything. Like it's the knowing about it that I don't think students always
right.
know, and
I was
we're
going to
just
say, I
so
had no
big.
idea.
Yeah, and I have one here at the DRC, and we tell students all the time, like, you don't need us to make your textbook accessible. You can go over and do it as you need, and then you can drop it in and it can read it to you out loud. You can have the physical book in front of you, you can have it listening if you're one of those learners. And so yeah, there's little things that we can do and find and to pave the way to do that for sure.
All right, you want to go to the next one because we're almost
Yes,
at the
I
end.
know. So I know you want, I couldn't get it in the chat earlier, so I know you wanted to tell them about the website and all the good pieces
Yes, so
there.
we have a couple of links here, and we can share them in follow up that give an overview of the Section 508 accessibility universal design, sort of overview of design, universal design principles. And then the framework that we shared is from CAST, and that's the udlguidelines.cast.org website. So we wanted you to have those in case they're useful resources.
Absolutely. And then I wanted to just make sure to put in here that everybody knows about. It's somewhat newer. We've only been doing it a couple semesters where there is an anonymous refer a student to the DRC. So if you are working with anyone and, obviously you're not going to ask them, hey, are you registered with the DRC? Unless you have an accommodation letter from them. But if not, we really wanted to take away that icky feeling, right? Of you might be in an office hours with someone or your TA maybe was, and you just you don't know if they're registered with us or not, but it's completely anonymous. I do a personal reach out to every single person that gets referred just to say, hey, have you ever thought about getting to know the Disability Resource Center and what we do here? If so, I'm happy to set up an inquiry meeting for you. So it's really simple for them and it's not uncomfortable for the student. And then I stay in contact with the person who referred if they would like to, or I just send them an email and say, hey, thank you so much for referring. We've done a personal reach out. So just to make sure it's there, it's always available and something really, really great to just kind of hopefully get them to the DRC if that's what is needed and what you all think might be needed too, because you know them best because you're working with them so closely. And then we definitely wanted to make sure that you all had our contact information. I know I speak for Erica when I say that we really enjoy the collaboration and we are constantly wanting to work with people in other disciplines and all over. So please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out. Any questions whatsoever. Always happy to consult.
Please do reach out. Happy to be a thought partner.
This was really fun, Erica. It's a
Oh,
good conversation, y'all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
both
you.
of you.
Yeah.
absolutely.